Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this wonderful conversation. Today, I am joined with amazing, wonderful influencers and a wonderful community that I'm proud to be part of. Today, we're going to talk about Ramadan and the importance of Ramadan and being queer during Ramadan and why visibility is important. I am joined by Osman. Osman, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everybody. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. So my name is Osman. I'm a volunteer for an organization called Hidayah. Our mission is to provide support and welfare for LGBTQI plus Muslims and promote social justice and education around the queer Muslim community to counter discrimination, prejudice, and injustice. Thank you so much for having me.
And we are so pleased to have you. Aisha and Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I guess I'll go first. My name is Aisha. I am originally from Ohio, but I live in Thailand right now. I'm in Thailand making vlogs and travel content. And yeah, I'm just here living my life and excited to be here.
I'm jealous. Thailand is my favorite country.
This
video.
What?
My name is Sam. I am Aisha's girlfriend. Been together for 5 years now. And I'm also from Ohio, currently in Thailand, making videos as well. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here. My first time ever doing anything like this. So I'm very nervous. Anxiety on 1000, but I'm here.
Hi, yes, I'm Dina. I'm a writer, and I am a big fan of journalism and really bringing out, the stories that matter, especially when they relate to marginalized groups and minorities. I'm a big social justice person. People on the right would call me woke, or I don't know, social justice warrior or whatever. But yeah. Very, very happy to be here, and thank you very much for having me.
And I am so happy to have you here, and thank you for accepting the invitation. Before we start, just a brief explanation. What is Ramadan? So Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, also known by Hijra calendar. And it is a month where Muslims fast during the whole month from dawn, is it dawn to dusk? Yeah, from dawn to dusk, and it's a month of reflection. It's a month of getting together with family. It's a month of praying, a lot of praying, and it's a month to get close to God. Basically, it's a very, really holy month, and it's the most important month in the whole Islamic calendar. And I was wondering, what is the importance of Ramadan for you as queer and Muslims? Should we start with Aisha?
Okay, sure. Actually, this Ramadan, for example, is like probably one of the biggest Ramadans of my life and our life. Especially with us like being out and everything. To me, Ramadan is like it's like that breath of fresh air, that time to kind of like set like how you how you spend your Ramadan. I feel like it's going to determine how the rest of your year goes. It's like a new year type of thing for me. And it's also a time for me to just basically really just like restart and hone in on the things that I've always wanted to work on, and continue to do the things that I do, and to really have an honest conversation, with myself about where I want to see myself in the future, like spiritually, religiously, financially, all that good stuff. So, what's Ramadan to you, love?
Like she was saying, it's one of the most important Ramadans for us this year. I think this is the first time that I've ever felt that I feel included and proud to be Muslim, because I've had a very hard time trying to figure that out. You know, being told my whole life that, you know, you being gay is wrong, you're going to hell, regardless of what you may do. And now I feel like I'm at a point where I'm confident in my faith. Like, I'm confident to go to the masjid now, because I mean, what are you going to do about it? You know, so yeah, it means a lot. And this is our holiday, basically, you know, so this is an opportunity for us to celebrate it, for us to share love and everything with everybody. So it means a lot.
Yeah. So, Sam, you mentioned masjid, and masjid is the place where Muslims pray. It's like the house where is it the building that Muslims are praying. It's called masjid, and I'm really chuffed that we're having this conversation to educate a lot of people and to share a lot of terminology with a lot of people who are watching with us. And I am like you guys, especially what you said, Sam, now about getting comfortable to go to al masjid and praying and also fasting while being queer, something that was always told us, you cannot do that, you cannot do this and be this at the same time. And now being a full version of me and embracing everything about me took a long term and took a long time and a long journey. So yeah, like whatever you said now, it's like it really resonated with me. And what about you, Osman?
So yeah, for me, I kind of agree with what Sam and Aisha were talking about. You know, for me, it's not just about not eating and drinking. It's a very spiritual thing. It gives me an opportunity to bring myself closer to God. I think that's really important for many Muslims, not just queer Muslims. But this, you know, that dialogue that I have, I've always been very proud to be Muslim, and I'm sadly I haven't always felt proud to be gay, but my faith has always been strong, and it's always been there when I've had difficult times through challenges in my life. But no, I love the fact that this month is an opportunity for me to kind of break away from my bad habits, my kind of binge eating, and I kind of watch what I consume in terms of what I eat, what I watch, and what I say to people. I think that's important about Ramadan, is that it gives you a chance to kind of reflect on the past year and how you can change this kind of opportunity to change and make positive changes in your life.
Definitely, and sometimes when we talk about Ramadan, we only think about what we consume in in our body, but actually it's everything that we consume in a day. Whether entertainment, we have to change that. What we see in the street, we have to like stop a lot of things. Gossiping, we have to stop doing that. Talking bad, we have to, like, everything bad about ourselves, we have to stop it, and we have to fast and completely doing that. So no porn. What about you, Gina?
What I really love about Ramadan is that it's a time for me to kind of detox from all of those things that you mentioned, you know, like, but also just as someone who's, you know, been in a job since I was at uni, and just the world always moves really fast, and I get so caught up with stuff to do that I do sometimes kind of feel like I'm neglecting certain parts of myself, like in terms of like spiritually. And I find Ramadan is a great time because, yeah, okay, so we're going without food and water, but I feel very nourished in terms of like spiritually. I feel like I kind of make up for, you know, the fact that I didn't always kind of pay attention to these things at other times of the year, and I really loved that. And also, like, I feel like it's a great time to kind of reconnect with my culture a bit. Like, I mean that in terms of like food, for example. Like, there's a lot of great kind of food that we have in iftar, which is the meal that we have in the evenings to break our fast. But then also, like, in terms of poetry, so I've just written about kind of the importance of a certain poetic form called a ghazal, and basically it's a type of poem that's very popular in it started in Arabia and then it moved to Persia and in South Asia, and I really love that form, and I didn't realize it was something that my mum was familiar with too. She said that this is something that they used to recite these types of poems to wake people up for the morning meal, which is called suhoor. And so I never knew that, and I really love that's a part of my heritage, that's a part of my literary and cultural heritage, that, you know, poetry and things like that. So I think for me, Ramadan is something that is very much about kind of nourishing and you know, taking care of the soul and the spirit more than anything. And it's one of my favorite times of year, for sure.
I love that. Connected with poetry. Yes, I love I love poetry as well, and Arabic poetry, and I think during Ramadan you can see that, especially like we said, that al-ghazal or jazal or different types of poetry are recited during this month. But even before Ramadan comes, there is a whole spiritual awakening, and there is also like you have to prepare physically and mentally. And I found this very challenging, to be honest with you, for me, especially in a Western country, because I live in the UK now, but I am from Morocco, and I grew up and I was brought up in Morocco, which is Islamic country. So like during Ramadan, you can feel it's Ramadan, and even like a week before or 2 weeks before, you can feel that. How do you prepare? Especially, I don't know. Like, I think most of you have grown up in a Western country as Muslims and queer. How did you prepare? How do you prepare yourselves for the month? Whoever wants to go.
Okay, I guess we'll start then. So, well, firstly, we grew up together. So we're like childhood friends. So our moms were known to be like the strict moms. So we grew up in a really tight, like, Islamic bubble. So like before Ramadan, we were preparing for Ramadan, but our parents, right, like we were like, our moms always kind of like kept that bug in our ear through like the whole year with certain things. So when Ramadan came, like before Ramadan, it was just like, it was like, really, okay, this is what I've been preparing for the whole year. And then it would go into Ramadan. And then also to catch on what you said, Rahim, is that we lived in Egypt for a year.
Oh.
And during it was so nice. I understand what you mean about, like, you know, when Ramadan is starting, like, it's so beautiful. They start putting up all the lights. They start getting like everything prepared, the stores, just everything. It's just like a different kind of like, it's like what they call the Christmas spirit, you know what I mean? Before Christmas even comes, and it's just like you're like anticipating that moment. So it's really beautiful, especially when you're preparing for it. I think also, just lastly to mention is that, you know, not everybody, sometimes depending on where they are in their life, they might not be in such like a happy spirit to start Ramadan. But just in case if anybody's like feeling like that, you know, Ramadan is for you, and it's for your own personal journey. So I know, like, there's times that I've dreaded Ramadan, like these past few years, like, I'm not ready for it, I'm not prepared. But ready is your ready for your journey. So yeah.
No, you're fine. I think for me, my family was a very strict Muslim family, like Aisha was saying. So we didn't celebrate any holidays. So when Ramadan came, it was like, you know, like the biggest holiday that we could celebrate. So they would go all out. We would have decorations. We would, know that Eid is coming, so we're gonna have gifts and presents and stuff. So it was a really big deal. And then also involving the community, they have everything, iftars going on. So yeah, it was a big deal. It's probably, I mean, I don't even have a holiday to compare it to besides probably Christmas in the Western world. Honestly, that's about as close. But it's still different, So it's a huge deal. It's always been a huge deal in our family.
By the way, everyone in the Middle East, North Africa, envies Egypt. Because like Ramadan in Egypt is the best, especially
Really?
with, like you said, the lights, and they have a beautiful settings, and the music and the poetry that Dina was speaking about is really prominent there in Egypt. And of course, Tilawat Quran or Quran citing there is one of the best known there. So yeah, like Egypt and the spirit of Ramadan is like Christmas lights in Oxford Street here in London. What about you, Osman?
Yeah, I'm similar to everybody else. It's such a special time of the year for us, and I kind of celebrate with my family. I live at home. Unfortunately, I'm still closeted, so I can't always share my relationships or talk about these kind of things with my family. It's difficult, but Ramadan is really a month about spending time with family. It's important, family and friends. And for many of Hidayah members who have had to leave their family because of their sexuality, Hidayah kind of provides that support, that kind of family that is like an adoptive family in a sense. So we try and do breaking fast together, and organize some events around our identities, and just kind of support people who might not have that family around during this special month. And I think that's quite important as well, that you can create your own family. If your family isn't accepting of you, then it's important to remember that you create that family of a circle of friends or people that that kind of send off positive vibes. But yeah, so for me, I spend a lot of time with people who are also queer and Muslim, so that I know that I can help support people who are not able to have people around them, especially because this month is about giving, it's about charity, and it's about doing as much as possible spiritually as well. I love eating dates, so not many people like dates, but I do love dates. So my mum buys me special Tunisian dates because I just love the texture. They're very soft. So if anybody has the opportunity, please try Tunisian dates. They're my favorite.
Osman, you've been to Morocco, so have you tasted Moroccan dates?
I have. I've been to Morocco, and it's such a beautiful place. However, there was lots of different types. I mean, I couldn't tell you which one. There's just stacks and stacks of dates, but different ones, different colors, and it was just too much for me to take in. But yeah, some of them taste as good as chocolate. I would go as far as saying that, if not better.
Well, I tried then. I tried to sell my country's dates. Gina, what about you? What is the preparation looks like for you before Ramadan starts?
Like one of the main things is making samosas because like we handmade them. We hand make them in our house. So that's a big thing, really, because we eat a lot of samosas. But I think also I really love how much it's Ramadan is a time of community. So like when I was at uni, we used to go to the prayer hall and we'd have like big iftars there with, this was obviously pre-COVID. But we would all kind of gather, we'd sit on the floor and we would share food, and there would be people who came in and would bring some food as well, and it was just a really, really nice kind of environment to be in. And then also I think Ramadan is so much about sharing, like Osman mentioned dates, and like I'm not a big fan of them, to be quite honest with you, and like my mother thinks that's absolute sacrilege. She's like, oh my god, how can you not like dates? But I do have a friend who is a really big fan of dates. She's not Muslim, but I when I can, I try and give them to her because I know that she likes them. And when there are some really nice ones in the shop and stuff. So and it's very much a tradition in my family, and I think in a lot of others, to give iftar to our neighbors, for example. That's something we used to do all the time, and they absolutely loved it. They used to be, they would be asking for our recipes and things like that. So I think that's partly a testament to, kind of the kind of food that we make. But also, that is also a sense of community, even with others who aren't Muslim, who don't observe Ramadan. It's still so great to kind of be able to share that with other people. Like I think that's like a really rewarding thing for me, and like kind of just seeing our neighbors' faces when we like come around with a dish for them and stuff, and they would do the same with us as well. For those neighbors who were Muslim, they would kind of send some back on the same plate. It's really nice, and I really love this time of year for that reason, because that's not something that you can easily replicate anywhere else. And I really hope one day I get to go to a Muslim country and experience Ramadan there, because I think it would be absolutely magical. I would absolutely love it. So yeah.
Yeah, I for me, do you know how I prepare? Because during Ramadan in Middle East, North Africa, all the networks and TV channels, they put on a specific programmation, and then new TV shows are introduced. So I'm trying to watch as much trailers and see how the press releases of these shows, to see what kind of shows I'm gonna watch during the Ramadan, because this is important, because 70 or 100 shows are released during that period from 25 countries. So you have to know which shows they are for you to see what you're gonna follow and what not. So yeah, do you want to say something, Aisha?
I used to live in Saudi Arabia with my family, so I know what you're talking about. All the shows, and then all the kids channels would be Ramadan themed.
Yeah.
So it would be, and then also they would actually during right before you break your fast, they would cut the program and do like the adhan and stuff, so the kids knew that it was time to break fast in the middle of the show.
Yeah. So every channel out there, it becomes a Ramadan themed, and they change the programmation of the channel to fit every period of the day, like the iftar. And iftar actually is the prime time now, because everyone is fixed in front of the TV. So whatever during iftar is a big show, and it's like a big budget show. And we've been talking about iftar, and I think iftar, which is breaking fast, is the most important part of the day. And I'm a foodie. I love my food. And if you know, Morocco has the best food. I know that Osman just dropped, but we're gonna start the conversation while he joins. And I want to start with you, Dina, because you talked about sharing food with your university students and all that. Tell me, what is the food looks like? How the food looks like?
Oh yeah, where do I start? There's so many things. I mean, there's pakoras, which is like generally they're made of potato or okra or eggplant, and like you dip it in this mixture that's got like egg and you know, turmeric and stuff. It's the best thing ever. Like I could eat 100 of those and, you know, live to tell the tale. So but obviously I don't eat 100 of them because I feel like if I did that, then I would probably, you know, like pass out in a food coma. But also like it depends really. Like we have a lot of samosas. We like trying out new things in Ramadan, which can work and sometimes don't. Like there was this time we had like biryani, which is kind of like this with rice and with either chicken or meat. And you know, there was this time that we made it and it was so spicy. It was ridiculously spicy. So one of the things I find really funny about Ramadan is the fact that we can't really taste the food. Like it's kind of difficult to like have a good sense of what the food will taste like when you don't get to taste it while you're cooking it. So that can be really interesting because sometimes people forget to put in the salt or something, and it's just hilarious when that happens, to be honest. So that's why we often ask the kids to be our taste testers, so to speak. And yeah, I really love kind of all the shenanigans that happen with that, to be honest, just because I just find them very amusing. And you know, I'm a big foodie too, but I'm also weirdly not the kind of person to get like super hangry about, you know, like being without food and water. Like I'm quite chill about it. The only thing I find really difficult is not having tea, because I have like, normally I have like 3 or 4 in a day, and I've been drinking it since I was 6 years old. So, you know, it's kind of difficult to like wean myself off it, to be honest. But yeah, samosas, pakoras are the main things for me.
To be honest with you, I'm not, because whenever I hear samosas, my head goes to a cocktail and alcohol, but it's not, is it?
Oh no, that's mimosas. Okay. No, so samosas are like, so they're like pastry, and inside they've got like you know, a stuffing of your choice. So you can have like vegetables, you can have meat or chicken. Usually, you know, we make them with a variety of things, and they are always really yummy. And the best ones are the ones where you hand make the pastry. You can get ready-made pastry as well, but I prefer the handmade ones. But they take a lot longer to do. So yeah.
You can tell that I'm thirsty. But just going back to the point when you say that the children are the tasters, because that was my favorite moment of Ramadan, is going to the kitchen and waiting for my mom to ask me to taste things. It was like everything that she cooked, I already like tasted it before. But also when I was 20, I find out that I was living with HIV. And when I started living with and at the start, you know, like the pills that I was taking were like 3 a day, you know, because of vitamins and all that. So I couldn't take them, so I couldn't fast during Ramadan. And I was also the taster of the family. That was the most positive thing. I used to go to the kitchen, like my 20-year-old ass, go to the kitchen and say, "Can I help? Can I taste?" But now, luckily, because now I only take 1 pill a day, I am allowed to fast, and I can like fast normally, which is amazing. Which is like that was the most important thing for the people living with HIV who couldn't fast during Ramadan. Was literally a struggle for us, but now with science and all that, things has completely changed. What about you, Aisha and Sam? What is the drill? How is the food?
You know what? I have to think on this one.
So it depends on what we felt like eating that day. If we wanted to eat, let's say like African American food, then it was chicken, like yams, baked beans, macaroni.
Like a Thanksgiving dinner.
Like a Thanksgiving dinner. If we wanted Desi food, then we would go to the Desi Masjid and have biryani and samosas. If we wanted Arab food, then we would go to the Arab Masjid and have, you know, like whatever they would have that day. So yeah, we had a range. Actually, we spent most of the Ramadan eating at the masjid because that's a really big thing in the West. I'm not sure about the UK, but in America, like most people actually eat at the masjid. They have a big dinner, the masjid for everybody. It's almost like a potluck. Everybody brings a dish, and we all break fast together, eat, and then pray, and then do it again the next day. So yeah, we would have a lot of different options. I think one of my favorite would have to be definitely what my mom would cook. She would cook like potato soup. It's like a cheesy potato soup. I don't know how she used to make it, but you know, after not eating all day, anything tastes good. So you know, I was like, oh my god, it's so good. Like it tastes like heaven. But yeah, that's all we can remember with food, honestly.
Yeah, now that you say that though, so actually there's like four main masjids. So growing up, there was like four main masjids that you would go to depending on what you wanted to eat. Depending on what we wanted, we would just go there and like a lot of you guys have been saying, it was like a family thing. So a lot of the people that have went there or went to the masjids that we would go to, we all kind of grew up together. So we would all just like eat, and then the kids would go out in to pray. Some would sneak off during Tarawih, or like after a certain time of night after we break our fast. Muslims get together and then they pray through the night. So that's called Tarawih. So during that time when the adults would be praying, a lot of the time we would be out having fun, like playing basketball and stuff.
And I just wanted to say something too that about the food, that if Sister Alice was cooking, everybody would go to the same masjid.
That's my step grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Everybody.
Everyone from the African masjid, that like everybody, they would all come to the masjid. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we say that during Ramadan, all the masjids are full, like full to like everyone who was not even praying like in time prays in time in Ramadan, and everyone becomes like a devoted Muslim in Ramadan. So you have to go to the masjid or to the mosque really early for you to be inside the mosque. Otherwise, you have to pray outside, which is how many people decide to go to the mosque at the time. Osman, I know that you dropped when we were talking about food. How is food for you, and what is the go-to food during Ramadan? And is it the UK the same thing as America, that all communities go to the mosque during Ramadan?
Yes, so the masjid, the mosque, is such an important part. So a lot of people do go to the mosque. I personally go for the full 30 days of Ramadan, for the whole month. I go every night, and you know it's difficult because you pray throughout the night, and then you try and get some sleep, and then you're getting up for work, and then from work you start again. You go and you open your fast, and similar to Aisha, I go to different mosques. So I go to different masjids, different mosques, and you know, it's different communities. So you could be in a Turkish community, or you could be in an Arab community, and the mosques are the same. You know, Muslims are Muslims, despite our cultural differences, and it's just such a special feeling to be able to go and try different foods from different regions and areas. And you know, you all many people see Muslims in the Muslim community. The community is seen as a family. The word ummah, which is spelled U-M-M-A-H, means family, and we are in a sense a big family. And that's what's really powerful. And you see that in Ramadan. You see everybody coming together. You see people opening their fast together. You see restaurants become really busy at night. And it's quite common here in the UK for people to kind of walk past 10 o'clock at night, especially during the summer when Ramadan is a lot later on during the night. And you see lots of people sitting in restaurants eating at 10 o'clock at night. And people are like, what is going on in there? And all we see is all these Muslim peoples. But for us, it's such a festive time of the year, and you see it in the communities especially.
Yeah, definitely, and food definitely brings people together. Actually, our go-to food in Morocco as a Moroccan, and it's been a long time I didn't have this treat. It's been 4 years that I didn't have this treat, which is Moroccan soup. And I'm not even gonna say the ingredients because I'm not a cook. Otherwise, I would have cooked it and not waited for 4 years. So it's like we start with a soup and then we have a tagine, different tagine every day. So we have like a chicken tagine, we have like a meat tagine, we have like a veggie tagine, and it's like every time I want to describe the Ramadan iftar table to anyone, I say picture Thanksgiving, but every day for 30 days. So yeah, and we every time we talk about food, and I notice now every time we talk about food, we talk about like Osman said, the ummah, the community, family, and unfortunately, there is not for me at least here in Wales, because I live in Wales. We don't have like an out Islamic queer community here, and it's basically non-existent. I know that they are, but we are not like, we don't know each other. What is how which is like a stupid question, but what is the importance of this community? And I know Osman has a lot of things to say about this because Hidayah started for this reason.
Yeah, I think it's important that you see yourself visible within the community. You see that you can be queer and you can be Muslim, and to be around people that are like you, that are similar to you. And what we try and do, especially during Ramadan, is try and organize events to bring people together, because we appreciate, we want to see each other, we want to talk about our experiences which are similar, and also to educate the queer community as well. We want people to learn that you can be queer and Muslim, and we are here and learn about Islam. Islam isn't a religion that Islam is a very accepting religion, and Hidayah takes that opportunity in Ramadan to showcase poetry events, film screenings, which we'll be doing later on in the month. And I think it's important that we bring people together and give a voice to queer Muslims. That's the important part for us. And that there is a family out there if you need it. We have in the past organised an iftar event, like a breaking fast event in cities like London and Manchester, where we've brought the queer community together from people from all faiths and all backgrounds, and it's been such a special event. Unfortunately, due to lockdown and COVID, we haven't been able to do that this year, but we do plan to do it next year. So let's hope and pray that we get to next year and we can have a proper big feast and invite everybody.
I mean.
Yeah, I mean.
I think the same goes to you, Aisha and Sam, because you both are partner together. So how is that community and having other friends or other community together during this month?
First of all, I'm so grateful to have met Osman, for Osman to have reached out to me, and I've met him and met us. Because even though we're so excited for this Ramadan and thinking about our childhood and how we grew up prior to being outed, we have so many good memories with the community, with our families. But since the day that we were outed, we have been on our own. And so for the past 5 years, we haven't really had a proper Ramadan, because our energy was focused elsewhere, trying to survive. So the idea of, big iftars or having family, having friends, none of that was actually like available to us at all, not even food really. So I think it's so important and it's so amazing with us being more grounded in who we are today, being more stable today. Also meeting people like you guys, like Osman, and everything that Hidayah does. It really makes us excited for Ramadan for that reason, to feel like we have like family again, to feel like we have community again, and also to know that um, what you had before, you don't always have to keep that same thing. Sometimes you outgrow things and you're meant for something better, so what God takes away, he gives back better. Yes, is that right? So it really makes it exciting to know that there's platforms like Hidayah and other things that will allow us to feel the community and feel like we have family. So we definitely plan on indulging this year and kind of creating our own family, and then also creating our extended queer Muslim family online. So yeah, and then inshallah, we're definitely going to be making a trip to the UK. I've been there twice, but still, love hasn't been there. Linda hasn't been there, so I would love to come and visit all of you guys for sure.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. You have anything to say, Love?
Yeah, you summed it up honestly pretty well. But I think having a sense of community is just important in general, especially if you're a minority. You already feel like an outsider already. So feeling like you're not alone and feeling like you're not the only one going through this or the only one having this, because a lot of times in society they make you feel like you are. So yeah, having that community and having organizations like Hidayah, and I'm sure there are other ones, I'm not sure, but I remember like when I first started to come to terms that I was going to just be a openly queer Muslim, I was looking around trying to find where I could find help. And so what I actually did was started my own little Instagram page of like trying to help other people. And I realized like a lot of people feel, excluded and don't really know of other people that can help or other organizations. So I wish that I could have learned about or knew about Hidayah years ago, because it would have helped a lot. And I couldn't imagine spending Ramadan with other queer Muslims. Like that's amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I remember when I came to the UK the first time, and I was looking for ethnic minority groups here because I sought asylum in the UK, and now I am successfully obtained my asylum, and I'm a refugee here. But at the first time when I came here in 2017, and trying to look for a community and trying to look for people who looked like me and who spoke the same language as me and all that, and Hidayah and Hidayah was one of the first organizations that popped up, but they were not based in Wales. They were based in England, unfortunately. But keeping the contact with them was always very helpful. And like you said, Aisha, seeing yourself and seeing people who look like you can resonate with them, and you can have like a beautiful energy. And sometimes you don't have to explain things. Do you know what I mean? That's the most important thing, not to have to explain your feelings and how do you feel. And it's like, just, you know what, this is how I feel, and the other person really like connects with you with it. Don't you think that's amazing?
Yeah, like you can focus on just being Muslim and just being yourself. You don't have to put so much focus on your sexuality or your preference or how you identify as. You can just come as you are and be accepted and loved, and you guys can just worship God together, because that's like the whole point, right, of being Muslim in the first place. So yeah, definitely I understand.
What about you, Dina? What is okay, go on.
I just want to echo what everyone's been saying about kind of community, because I feel like it's super important, especially for people like us. And that's actually why one of the projects that I'm working on is to do with kind of collating stories for people who are like us in so many ways. And I really want to be able to make that an inclusive space, because I know how important it is to find someone who looks like you or who is similar to you in a lot of ways, like, and to see that in like visibly in the media can really make a difference in like when you have a crisis in your identity, or you're not really sure who you are. So yeah, I would also say though that like the found family aspect of it is like my favorite thing ever. Like I must have joined like mid last year, and since then, like, Osman has become like a really good friend to me, and like I wasn't, there is always this feeling that, family can only be people who are, your blood. But the truth is, family is whoever kind of loves and accepts and, respects you for who you really are. And I definitely think like with Osman, like we chat sometimes, and it's really nice, like Aisha was saying, to kind of just have someone who kind of understands you in the sense that, like someone who is similar to you, and like you were saying, Rahim, about kind of being able to like not have to explain yourself. That's such a big thing, because yeah, it's not something you can find everywhere. So I would say family is, the family that loves you and supports you is precious, and is something that I will always kind of hold dear, I think.
Yeah, yeah, Dina, and you talked about something that really is close to my heart, which is visibility and the importance of visibility. And I feel like the last 2 or 3 years, we had some kind of visibility with Tan France, who was the first gay Muslim out there and out and proud. And we have some other queer Muslims, luckily now in the media, who are also queer, like Abdullah, like I forgot the name of the fashion designer, but we have amazing queer visibility that we didn't have when we were children, and that feels comforting. And I don't know how to segue from this to the other topic, but I feel like when we talk about community, we talked about also about masjids. But sometimes even the masjid and the mosque is not safe for queer people, and they don't feel like it is safe for us to go to that worship place. I felt the same thing when I was a child. What can I ask? Which is like a big question, and this can take a whole hour just to discuss. But how do you think we can make mosques inclusive? Whoever wants to jump on the question can go.
It's funny because I talk to Aisha about this all the time. I think that the main thing is that people have to realize is that they don't own masjids. That's the main, first of all. So I mean, whoever you are, if you just, I mean, really, I don't think there's ever any part of the Quran or Hadith where it says that no one is welcome in masjid. I mean, we've had somebody literally urinate in the masjid, and the Prophet still was welcoming to this person and didn't bash him. I mean, nowadays, if you do that, you might get killed. But like it's. I feel like we have to. I think a lot of times people feel that they are better than other people, or they feel because they're not gay or whatnot that they can tell you that you can't come in here because you're this. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of issues with that and people's pride, and also just people being really judgmental. Because if I walk into the masjid, it takes a lot, first of all, for me to do that. And you preventing me from doing that, to me, that's wrong, more than anything. And I feel that masjid should just allow people to come in, whether you're Muslim or if you're not Muslim, maybe you're curious, maybe you have questions. Because I've seen people stop even non-Muslims from coming in the masjid. They're like, oh no, you're not pure, you can't come in. And it's like, you never know, that person could have maybe been interested in becoming Muslim, but now they don't feel welcome because you just turned them down at the door. So I think if communities and masjids allowed people to come around and be Muslim and not feel that they aren't welcome, I feel that honestly, it would just help in general, help for them to understand us, and also help for us to be able to be proud to be Muslim and be proud of our faith. Because that's a lot of the reason why I just now, how many years later of being out, are actually comfortable coming to the masjid, because I was, like you said, afraid for my life, or afraid that somebody might try to hurt me or anything. And it shouldn't be like that, honestly.
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead. And you're muted, by the way.
No, I just like said definitely, but go on, Aisha. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that. Actually, what was I just saying? Sorry, I didn't even know what happened. I was going to piggyback off of something that you said. But yeah, definitely, I feel like a lot of times the root of judgment is misunderstanding. And I feel like that's really the gap that is kind of like there between a lot of Muslims, is just misunderstanding each other. And this is deeper than just being a queer Muslim. Even certain Muslim groups don't get along with certain Muslim groups. So I just feel like a way that they could make the masjid more inclusive is just by not asking, not like you said, not stopping people from entering the masjid and being able to enjoy what is basically a right for them based off of how they feel about their lifestyle. And I think also it's important to mention that everybody's situation is different. So if you feel like going into the masjid is going to risk your life, like, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to go and do it anyways. And, like, make sure that you're weighing what is safe for you. But, if you are in a safe, like, if you'll be safe, but you might get, like, stares or people talking about you, like, definitely, I think us just showing up as who we are in a safe environment, but just showing up as who we are, because sometimes you have to put your foot down and let people know, like, this masjid is a place of worship. And the people who give Islam a bad name is not Islam, it's the people. It's how their interpretation of how they practice can be very damaging. And so they bring that interpretation into the masjid. And so now all of a sudden, a lot of us queer Muslims think that the masjid is a bad place, but it's not the masjid. It's just the people's interpretation. So I just feel like, if we can stand our ground and just go and do what we have the right to do, period, if that is safe and an option for you.
Start showing up.
Yeah, start showing up. Because, if you, like, sometimes depending on the situation of the person, if you don't show up sometimes, or someone doesn't show up, it's always going to be, you'll always be unseen. And even showing up in ways like Hidayah, that's also, to me, showing up, whether people are known or not, it's still making a presence there. There's still a community forming, you know what I mean? So, yep.
Yeah, definitely. You couldn't explain it better than I was thinking, and it definitely, masjid and mosques, first and foremost, is for everyone. And but yeah, I grew up with that fear and that phobia of going to the masjid. And is masjid for me as a queer person, is it a place safe for me? This is also a word that is always repeated in my head before putting a foot down inside there. And even when I go to a masjid, I'm always like intense. I don't feel like right. I feel my heart is beating and all that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have, not a lot of people, some imam, queer imam, an imam is the equivalent of priest in Christianity, have created inclusive masjids. And we have now even women who are imams. For example, in France, in South Africa, in Berlin, and in Belgium as well, we have those inclusive mosques who are queer friendly, and women can make the prayer without a hijab, and a woman can lead the prayer as well, because traditionally it's only men who are allowed to be imams or lead the prayer. And especially because we have an organization here that is working with Muslims, can we think that we can have like some sort of mosque like this in the future, Osman, here in the UK?
Well, actually, yes, we do already have the Inclusive Mosque Initiative. So this is a safe space for queer people to come and pray and basically meet other queer Muslims. And it's, I think the prayers are led by both men and women. And I think it's important, you know, for people like me, I have the privilege of being able to walk into a mosque, and because of the way I present, I don't have anybody stopping me from going in. But for some of our trans members, you know, I have had people say, look, I've not been allowed to go into the mosque, into the women's section because I'm a trans woman. And, you know, this is wrong. It's exactly what Aisha said. You know, in Islam, trans people have always existed, you know, for centuries. And they were given special places in protecting places around Mecca, the holy place for Muslim people. So, you know, for people to stop someone going into a safe space, it's just wrong in so many levels. But there is the Inclusive Mosque initiative, and this place allows people to, you know, walk in and feel safe. And I think we need more of these places, and I think gradually this will happen. A mosque is, where I live just now, we have several different mosques, and you can go to any of them. And that's what my dream is for the community going forward, is that people can turn up and not feel like the way you did, you know, just feel uncomfortable going into places. So yeah, I think times are changing, and we see more and more mosques opening up. But we need the help of the wider community to support us. We can't do this just by ourselves.
But if we're gonna have a mosque, I want the colors in your logo to be
yes, 100%. I agree. We want it to be a rainbow.
I am welcomed. Actually, what do you think, Gina? Do you think that creating a mosque from the get-go, which is inclusive, or making mosques inclusive, is the right way to go?
I think I'm kind of in two minds about this, because I reckon, you know, yeah, in an ideal world, it would be nice to have something separate, but then at the same time, that means that, you know, the majority of mosques would not be as accessible, which makes things difficult for people. And I think it speaks to the need for like a larger systemic kind of change to mosques and how they kind of operate. And I think part of it has to be about having a conversation about these things, like going back to sort of the roots and things like, you know, why mosques exist in the first place, what's their purpose, what do we as Muslims get out of them, as you know, there's a mosque, for example, in London that has a lot of memories for me, because I spent a lot of time there. I went to Taraweeh prayers with a close family member who's since passed away, but you know, like, just trying, like, that place now is very special to me, because it's a place where I went to with that person, and we spent a lot of time there. So I think, you know, yeah, mosques are there for prayer, but they are also there for community, and they're there for family, and they are there to be inclusive. That's the point of it. That's you know, like when we line up for prayer, like you know, we're all standing like in rows, and we're equal in the eyes of Allah, and I think that's really beautiful. But that needs to be a spirit that goes through every single practice that the mosque has. So it's not so much, you know, someone gatekeeping at the door and saying you can come in but you can't come in. That's not how it's supposed to work, you know. It sounds like a cliche, but like, you know, it's not for other people to judge us. It's for Allah to judge us and to to accept our prayers. And that's not something that Muslim people and the community should be taking on and saying, like, deciding for themselves. It's something that, we have to think about this as a community, and that involves, I think, a much larger kind of, like, you could have like one inclusive mosque in one place, but then that doesn't fix the bigger problem, I think. So I would really like to kind of do both. I would like to have like inclusive mosques, but then also have like a campaign to try and help make mosques more inclusive, especially for things like, like gender segregation and things like that. That we need to have a conversation, I think, because otherwise they're not going to know that it's how much of an issue it is. I mean, like, I'm sure that there are Muslims out there, who would be horrified to know that, people are turned away, or people are told they're not allowed to come in. I mean, that's like a really big injustice, and opening up that conversation is so important, I think.
Definitely. And I see that Aisha or Sam want to add something, I believe, no? Or it's just like...
Oh, no, I was agreeing with Dina, and then also we have a puppy. So sometimes we're talking about the puppy, making sure that she's okay. But yeah, no, I definitely agree though with what Dina is saying. I feel like I would like to see both, because the same, like, I have, and as we talked about, we have a lot of like fond memories of being with the community and being within the meshes that we grew up in, and it was just like I was saying also, like, the root of, like, I feel like judgment, one of the roots is like misunderstanding. So like I was saying, having those conversations on how we can coexist, because God made us in nations and tribes so we can know one another. And nations and tribes doesn't always mean like actual like nations and tribes. It could be a group of people basically. So like queer people, it could be like non-queer people, whatever the case may be. But the whole point is we're supposed to learn how to coexist and treat each other fairly. So I would love to see that, to be able to go on the rest and feel comfortable and hang out with the friends that I've been hanging out with my whole life, and the same, older sisters and brothers that have been around since, forever. So I think I agree. I agree for both. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that you agree too, because I agree. I think I agree with Dina, especially when doing the campaign and targeting mosques and working with imams and working with I don't know, like the Muslim society here in the UK. I think it's one of the, because I work with Glitter Cymru. So Glitter Cymru is a social group here for ethnic minority people in Wales, in South Wales, and our aim for next one is to reach out to our own community, because in the last 5 years we were focusing on allies and the wider white community, if you may, but now we want to really focus on our own community and educate our own community about our own struggles as an LGBT community, and sometimes Muslims. And I feel like my challenge is really to tackle that and to educate the Muslim community about queer people, because I feel like I'm still have a little bit of traumas, and I still have a little bit of struggles that I'm overcoming with your help, believe it or not, with your help in this conversation and talking with my peers about our struggles and our problems and all that can really help make the world more inclusive to all different communities. And I actually had a question and I forgot the question.
I do it all the time.
Oh yes, I wanted to say, because we were talking about Dina, when Dina mentioned about the campaign, I remember that actually France, they just, I think, presented like a law, an Islamic law in France, And during in the law, actually, they mention the LGBT community. They say that they accept the LGBT community from the perspective of an Islamic society and imams and all that. They say that they accept the LGBT community, and the LGBT community are welcome in the mosques. If I understood correctly, do you think if we had something like this concrete in the UK or in America or in Thailand, where the Muslim society of a certain country say that we agree that the LGBT are here to stay and acknowledge the existence of the LGBT, will it make a difference? Which is a stupid question, I know. But what is the significance of it? Go on, Aisha.
No, it's not a stupid question. I'm like, I think that would make a major difference because, I mean, how can I say this? Some people don't take us seriously because we don't even take each other seriously. You know what I mean? We don't even support each other. So it's just like if the other parts of the Muslim community would be like, yeah, you know, we acknowledge that you are a part of us, a part of this ummah, a part of this community family, versus just acting like we don't exist. And then when we are outed or something like that, we're like shunned and basically cut off. So again, exactly. So again, like we don't exist again to them, even though we're still there. I feel like if acceptance is there, even if they don't like agree, even if they don't choose to live their life like that, that's fine. We all have different preferences, but just to be able to acknowledge us and be like, yeah, you know, they're Muslim, just like any Sunni is Muslim, just like any Shia or any kind of different sect of Muslim, that we're all Muslim and we are all present and deserve to be here. So I think that would make a huge difference, yeah.
That's a dream. Like, do you know when the Pope have declared about the LGBT community, where the gay community are allowed to exist and to come to churches and whatnot, and the difference that he made? I wish that something like this comes from Mecca. Can you believe? It's gonna be amazing. What do you think, Gina?
The thing is, in an ideal world, yes, I would love that.
Of course.
But the thing is, with France, like I'm just very wary of the fact that France just passed a law also saying that, you know, girls that are under 18 aren't allowed to wear the hijab anymore, and so I think it's very easy, like there's a very fine line to kind of walk between kind of you know, being accepting of a certain group, but then also kind of policing them, and that being kind of in the name of Islamophobia, which I do think, like this particular law which bans hijab for, you know, people who are under 18, I think is, you know, there is a way of doing it that doesn't infringe on people's rights, and I'm like a big human rights person, like I studied it and stuff, so I feel very strongly about kind of, you know, doing right by communities, especially ours, but at the same time not infringing on, you know, our rights of expression when it comes to just being ourselves. Because in this case, like in France, they're basically restricting, that they're not allowing certain people to, you know, express who they are, like, okay, as Muslims, but I mean that's not that different from, you know, a lot of people who are like us and who have, you know, kind of who feel like our identities are suppressed. So I would like that, but I also think, like, I would like for there to be something in there which, you know, makes it more of a, you know, an acknowledgement that, you know, certain groups exist, but at the same time I am a bit wary about, you know, kind of the way that it's done in countries like France, only because, like, I feel like I'm being a real Debbie Downer here, but it's just because I've heard a lot about this law and like the law in France, and just generally how there are a lot of laws that are in France that seem to be targeting Muslims specifically. So I think we can yes, I agree that we do need that acknowledgement, but I think it's also important not to lose sight of the kind of extent of the Islamophobia that exists in the Western world as well.
Yeah, I want to kind of come back on that as well. Is that, you see more and more recently the rise in Islamophobia, and unfortunately, countries like France, Belgium, Denmark, they're weaponizing sexuality against the Muslim community, which I don't like, because they're trying to split people, communities. And I think it's important to remember that, by oppressing one community, you can't help another community. And this goes to the Muslim community as well. By not being inclusive to the queer community, you're not helping yourself either as a Muslim community, because you also are a marginalized community. So it's important that communities work together. And I just wanted to kind of mention that off the back of what Dina was saying.
I totally agree with what both of you said, and I just received a message that we are over an hour and we have to wrap up everything. And I'm gonna give you each 1 minute to tell me what is your future plan, what you're gonna do, and where we can find you. And of course, we're gonna include everything in the description. Let's start with the beautiful couple, Sam and Aisha.
Great, thank you. You want to start first off?
Yeah, so for the future, I don't know where we'll be. We'll be somewhere on the road. But hopefully we're also planning for a Muslim wedding, so that we'll look out for that. And you can follow us. You can follow us on all of our social medias that, of course, will be in the description. We both have YouTube channels. Our puppy has a YouTube channel now, too. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you guys for inviting us. My nerves are calm, so hopefully we can do this again, and inshallah meet you all in person so we can put faces to the names and everything.
Yeah. I'm the same what she said. Like, we're so excited to be able to do this. And you forgot to mention your YouTube though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know if that follows. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was good. Yeah, my YouTube. I am Samaya Alexander. That is my YouTube.
Okay. By the way, I'm gonna include everything in the comment section, and I'm gonna include everything in the description. All the tools to find you. But Aisha, did you say the name of your YouTube channel?
So my YouTube channel is Authentically Aisha, and my name is spelled AYESHA.
Okay.
But yeah.
What is the plans for your future?
So obviously to be married, like she said, we're definitely excited for that. And to start posting more. I plan to post a lot more, and I actually switch my job to part-time so I can focus more on my YouTube since I've passed the 1,000 mark for my subscribers. So yeah, and I just plan to travel more, continue to take therapy, healing through trauma, and yeah, just.
Yeah. Well, if we plug in our YouTube channels, I also have a YouTube channel.
I subscribe to you.
Arabic, plain Arabic. I'm just joking. I don't speak it.
Well, we speak a bit of Arabic because when we went to Egypt, that's what we were there for. We learned Arabic for a year.
Don't understand the Moroccan Arabic. Let me tell you.
I know. The Amia is different. Like, I have a friend who's Moroccan, and her Arabic is beautiful, but I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was just teasing. But also, I'm a belly dancer, and hopefully, you can invite me to your wedding, and I'll be belly dancing for you guys.
Yes. Yeah, that would be amazing. Okay. That would be amazing.
Dina, what is your future plans? Where we can find you? Where we can read you? Not to felt, read your things you find in.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of future plans, I'm hoping, inshallah, to just write more, because that's kind of the main thing for me. I'm currently working on a novel, and then also this non-fiction book that I would absolutely love for you guys to be involved in as well. So I'm gonna message you about that later. I'm really excited about kind of the projects that I'm doing with Hidayah, and I am hoping to get some poems out. You can find me on Twitter, and I will put my handle in the chat, and yeah, I'm just hoping that I can really try and make it as a writer, because I feel like that's the thing that I really love doing the most. And like, you know, I have been getting some really cool commissions and stuff, like as a journalist, and I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping to be like the next Lois Lane or Clark Kent, or if anyone reads comic books, they'll get the reference. But yeah, and thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy that you decided to come with us, Dina. I'm like over the moon. Osman, I think I have to ask your future plans and Hidayah's future plans, I think, because it's different entities.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to take part in this event. It's been amazing. And yeah, we'll continue to support LGBT and queer Muslims across the UK and abroad. And that is our plan, you know, and that's my plan as well. I feel passionate about helping support people.
And in my turn, I'm really thankful for you guys that you decided. I'm always saying guys. I think it's less inclusive. I want to say folks, people, amazing, and that's like my mistake. It's like a habit. I always say guys, and I know it's really long dated. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for speaking with me today. Thank you for sharing your stories and giving an insight to the Muslim queer community. My name is Rahim, and I am the Ethnic Minority Outreach Officer for Pride Cymru. And please share the video, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media, and please suggest any topics that you think we should tackle next. And see you next time.